speaker is Seymour Melman. He's a professor emeritus in industrial engineering at Columbia. He's a chairman of the National Committee for Economic Conversion and Disarmament. He's written several books on this topic. They're all in print. One is called The Demilitarized Society, Profits Without Production, and the Permanent War Economy. He'd like to talk to us about the character and the consequence of the American war economy. Please give a round of applause to Seymour Melman.
These remarks, and notably the data, will pertain to the United States, but I wish it to be understood that the analysis also pertains to the Soviet Union, and that is a matter of some importance in our time. The United States has become a permanent war economy. That's an economy in which military production is large, continuing, and in which military product is counted as though an ordinary economic end product. Understood to have prices, these prices are made a part of what is ordinarily called the gross national product. It is a particular and crucial feature of this class of products that they lack use value for consumption or for further production. They may have use, or as economists delight in calling it, utility, for various political purposes, military purposes, for some people even aesthetic or religious purposes, but they are lacking in ordinary consumption use value, and however intricate, say, a modern nuclear submarine, there's nothing you can produce with it. This permanent war economy is encased in a state capitalism. A state capitalism has at once the features characteristic of all capitalism, with a special added characteristic. The ordinary characteristics include an occupational separation between those who work and those who decide, the organization of deciding in a hierarchy, and finally, the presence of a powerful imperative among the decision-making occupations to rise up in decision power, to enlarge decision power. A state capitalism is one in which the control of capital is primarily in the hands of state institutions, so that the underlying features of capitalism are present with the special added characteristic of control by the state. Thus, in the United States from 1951 to 1990, every year, the budgets of the Department of Defense exceeded the combined net profits of all American corporations. Also, during the period 1949 to 1989, the combined budgets of the Department of Defense, measured in dollars of 1982 value, amounted to $8.2 trillion. That is meaningful when it is understood as a capital fund and is compared with the money value of all of U.S. industries, plant and equipment, and all of the U.S. infrastructure, again for 1982, which amounted to $7.3 trillion. In a word, we have expended on military account resources in excess of what would be required to replace the largest part of what is human-made on the surface of the United States. Another way to understand the matter that has great importance in the relative position of the United States is to appreciate a military budget as a capital fund and to compare it as we can year by year with the new capital assets of a civilian. By a show of hands, how many of you have had occasion to either read about or read the text or discuss in any way the Kennedy disarmament proposal? May I see a show of hands? You all see the evidence before your eyes. The idea of reversing the arms race has been made into a non-subject, and that is a principal result of the domination of infrastructure, of universities, of textbooks, by the whole culture and politics of war economy. Some years ago, a sociologist at Columbia University, C. Wright Mills, invented the idea that he called crackpot realism. By crackpot realism, he meant ideas that are ostensible action proposals or policy proposals, which also have the effect, however, of even worsening the condition to which they are addressed. Thus, giving a drunkard another drink, which he or she may be desperately asking for, would be a kind of crackpot realism. It would not get the drunkard to be less addicted to alcohol. In our economies and societies, there has been an addiction to military economy, using it as an instrument for regulating markets, income, employment. Military Keynesianism has been made into the crackpot realism of American political economy. Finally, I note the following. The consequence of such political economy, elements of which can be laid out, as I have shown you, in statistical and kindred format, have, among other consequences, the use, the preparation of wars as a continuing feature of government policy. It is that kind of economy and society that is the genesis of the present Gulf War crisis. And if we are to understand the need for extricating ourselves from such a systematic process, then we have to address the underlying institutional structure that yields such policy, that yields such crises. And that is the core meaning of the proposals for economic conversion and for carrying out an orderly process of disarmament. The war-making institutions of our own countries must be disarmed, for that is the crucial move on the road to peace.